We're on, Friday of week 1 of phase 2. So we've had a whole week of reopening businesses, and I'm on my way down back to Washington Square Park, because people who've been watching are going to remember that I had a little conversation with some people who had established a sort of a CHAZ-like little commune in Washington Square Park. And this was amazing to me. This weirdo guy, they didn't, I guess, catch his girlfriend, who I was mostly interacting with the other day. People saw that woman, who seemed to be out of her mind, charge at me with a bottle, and then some other guy got involved, actually assaulted me, smacked the phone to the ground, tried to damage my equipment, threatened me. I was on Shepard and Bellis podcast this morning, and Shepard was saying that he felt that that guy with the white guy with the camera might have been an FBI agitator. I don't know how he arrived at that conclusion, but people should check out IntelliHub.com. It was a pretty insightful comment from Shepard, because that guy was sort of protecting those people in the fountain. Doesn't make sense to me that they would allow them to stay there. I also want to add, when I do these walk and talks, they're more frequent than I'd like, but there are sometimes disruptions. Some of them are just due to walking around New York City and taxing the cellular, the mobile data network, but there's a possibility that someone's doing something to disrupt them. So I've adopted a policy: anytime the stream gets cut, I continue recording locally and it gets backed up, and then when I get back to the apartment, I upload the full video for sponsors to enjoy. And I do this to discourage anyone who might deliberately try to disrupt the broadcast, because they're going to know that when the broadcast gets disrupted, people are going to go to subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth and patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth, and they're going to become sponsors of the show. So their attempts to disrupt me and throw me off actually strengthen Crowdsource the Truth. It's the same approach I take to the social engineers that have been coming at me for 3 years, learning a lot about how these guys operate. Their method primarily is a smash and grab technique. It's the same kind of thing that the Antifa people do, and people who want to intimidate everybody and smash everything up. They want to smash and grab. They don't want you to know who they are. They don't have any integrity. They're not appearing, showing their identities. This is nice to see. At least some restaurants that have a decent amount of outdoor space are open, and people obviously want to be out. I've been to a wedding in this restaurant. I think it's like a hotel or some kind of fancy club or something. I haven't been there in a long, long time, but it's good to see people out. On my walk down here, that's some New Jersey jackass honking. The light is green, and that means people walking have the right of way. On my way down here, it occurred to me that really an overwhelming majority, in my estimation, of time this week when people reopened their businesses was spent not conducting business, but clearing out the stores. And I saw a lot of businesses that have the wood taken down, the place empty, and a big sign that says "for rent." So I remain convinced that this roaring back economy, I don't know how that's going to happen. We had Charlie Ward tell us that Tuesday was supposed to be the day that this, what is it? MRSA, I forget what it is, BERSA or NERSA, whatever, the reset, the economic reset was supposed to have happened on Tuesday. I haven't noticed anything. I don't know. We're going to have Charlie back on Monday. We'll ask him what's going on. But I wanted to come back down here. As people could see from today's graphic, the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, CHAZ, was doing so well in Seattle that they've apparently opened a New York City branch. And it occurred to me, it was clear. People heard me say to the cops that these people are trying to, establish their, it's like peeing on the territory, right? They're marking their territory. So why would the cops allow them to stay there? Ordinarily, if a vagrant were to occupy a public space like that and threaten and intimidate anyone who goes near it, the cops would tell them to leave. Vagrancy, you're not allowed to do it. You can't just take up residence on a city street and sleep there and spread out all your crap. I don't know if I played this video. Charles and I had recorded a video prior to Sunday with Charles last week, right at this fountain, and that guy was already in there. So when I saw him again on Tuesday or whatever day that was, I felt like it was a good time to tell the cops to get him out of there, and people will remember that the cops did absolutely nothing. They have not removed this F-12 graffiti, obviously an attack on the George Washington statue. Now, what is going on over here? We got people spraying spray paint in the middle of the outdoors. I don't think you're really supposed to do that. So this is looking a little bit more park-like in terms of people like hanging out and doing their thing. I don't really want to interact with the Schmiegel-like creature living in the center there, if he's still there. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like he's still there under the umbrella. Now, he had an issue with being video recorded, so he wants to put himself on display in a CHAZ CHOP-like thing that he's obviously been allowed to occupy. I mean, this does not look like a healthy guy. How is he not just roasting in the sun? He needs medical attention. He probably needs mental help. He's occupying this thing, apparently with police consent and with the approval. He's been, kind of lionized by the New York Post. Look at him. He's majestic. He's like the king of Washington Square Park. Sitting in there, he's framed beautifully by the arch there. It's an interesting set of circumstances that we've arrived at here in New York City. Clearly the mayor is encouraging this. There's no doubt that a simple order to the police could cause that guy to be vacated. I don't understand why they're allowing him to stay there. Now, there were a bunch of cops over here the last time we were here. Didn't really have much to say and didn't want to answer my questions as to why that dude is allowed to hang out in the fountain. No cops at all. There's no cops here. It smells like weed, which is pretty normal for Washington Square Park. So the interesting thing is that's actually not the CHAZ. What we've got is, and I haven't seen this yet, but people have been telling me that I haven't seen it in the mainstream news. Nothing has been said about this, but people are telling me that there actually is a New York City CHAZ. It's the City Hall Autonomous Zone. So they're down by City Hall Park. I don't know if people watching now have seen the video I did, I think it was May 1st, something like that, a couple of weeks ago. Let's see if we're live here. Looks like yes. So the interesting thing is that's actually not. Yeah. So people who were watching May 1st when I went down, this was weeks before George Floyd was killed, and weeks before the protests began. Let's walk by Monty's and see how they're doing. And we were down there at City Hall Park, intending to have a peaceful protest, challenging the lockdowns that closed all these businesses, and challenging the unconstitutional. This is interesting. Look at this. They've built a little kind of outdoor garden here. So people are getting creative with their businesses, and this is cool. This will be good, except, it's about to be so hot you're not going to want to be outside. But when we were at that protest, it's interesting that they got wood around the trees. The cops showed up and kicked us out right away. 30 minutes or less. Yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of businesses that got 2 tables outside. I don't know if they're going to really be able to get anywhere. JW Market looks not in business to me. So this is a big restaurant area. We're going to probably expect to see a lot of businesses, being innovative like that. There's the NYU Law School. Now, curiously, there's no graffiti on any of this. Why not? This is the Shitholi that invited Andrew McCabe and Andrew Weissman to come and talk about how to reform the FISA court, I guess so they could abuse it more effectively. But I mean, look at this. They have no fear of smashed windows, no guards outside here, no spray paint. I mean, up by my neighborhood, loads of stuff is graffitied up, spray painted up, vandalized. Unbelievable. Someone's saying they can't post in any chat. Norton imposter. I have to separate it then post. Yeah, links can't be posted in the chat because people remember there were all those porno bots that were posting crap and trying to disrupt the live stream. So this is cool. This is a good street to look at. We're here on Bleecker Street. Cafe Reggio is a great place that I used to go to at NYU if you want coffee or tea. Good date place. You know, this is a street that typical nights is filled with people partying, hanging out, having a good time. Anybody ever watch the Louis C.K. show? That's the Comedy Cellar back there that he walks into in the beginning of the thing. This is a West Village here, and this is where people are usually hanging out and partying. I do my best to actually directly interface with anybody, because I just haven't been enjoying that very much. But it is cool to see, you know, we got all this outside space. People are innovating to try to make a little something happen. I mean, it's a stopgap for sure. We've got more governors talking about closing the place down again. Here we go. Monty's has built an outdoor little place. So that's cool. Restaurants are getting innovative. If people are in the West Village, visit Monty's Trattoria. Excellent restaurant, family owned. I see some people that look like they might be members of the Moscone family that I haven't met before. But you know, obviously a lot of businesses down here not faring quite as well. Great sadness and difficulty that this place informs us that they're closed. So there you go. And here's a place that I guess doesn't have a lot of outdoor space. Closed pizza place right there. That's a bad sign on a Friday night. I'm sure that place wants to be open. There's a restaurant for lease. I should have rolled some video on the places when I was walking down, because I saw actually a number of places that were previously boarded up that look like, you know, between the last time I saw them and now, their owners or operators or whatever basically came back into town, phase 2'd up, and closed the place down. I was looking into purchasing a shotgun this morning because I would like to have a shotgun in my home in case people decide they want to come in there. If justice to them is that I have an apartment and they don't, and they want it, they might decide that it's their right to come and take it. And I bring this up because this is like the rifle club or something right here. This is a really interesting place. Now look at that, TS. What does that stand for? 77 McDougal. It's the New York Rifle Club. It's for members only, and I'm definitely not a member. It's the Tiro A. Segno of New York, founded in 1888. That's interesting. I've been by that place many times, and I don't really know what it's all about. This is another restaurant here, owned by the owners of Monty's. I guess they've decided to concentrate their attention on the one restaurant. Or actually, that one might close. I don't know if they own that space. Good to see people out enjoying the day. Veloce remaining closed. I wonder if that's a sign that they will not reopen. Oh yeah. So I received a pretty disturbing message. Actually, it was very helpful, but the contents of it were disturbing. Crowdsource the Truth viewer sent me this. This is something that was photographed on the subway. I haven't been on the subway for some time because I just think it's totally unsafe. It says, attention white men, women, and children. You are the enemy. We will not stop until there are more white homeless than black. We will not stop until all white people are sent to re-education camps. We will not stop until white people pay extra taxes to support black individuals. We will not stop until black power runs all government. We will not allow any white person to date another race. We support no white-owned business. Hate is okay if directed at white families. So that's a wonderful message of love under the banner of Black Lives Matters. Now, I don't believe that everyone who supports or is involved with Black Lives Matters believes that, but it does point out one of the problems with something like this is that it's like anonymous or, Able Danger, that thing that Field McConnell used to run and that David was a part of. Field really ran the brand, and it became a point of contention because he basically allowed anyone to post anything under the name Able Danger, much in the way that, Black Lives Matter is kind of a not really organized thing. I mean, it's not like Congress, you know who's in it, you know what the purpose is. And if Congress issued a statement like the one that I just read, it would be universally condemned, and the people behind it could be thrown out of Congress and that sort of thing. But when you have these kind of amorphous, collections of individuals with no clear leader, a statement like that goes out, and we don't know if that's actually what they stand for, or if that's something that some people who support it will act on, or if a crazy person will see that and be inspired to do something. But I think there has been a decided increase in violence and animosity and certainly racial strife. And I'm pretty convinced that Black Lives Matter is actually a divisive entity that is taking us in reverse with regard to what I think would be beneficial to race relations in America. But of course, I'm white, so my opinion would be ignored by anyone who doesn't agree with it. They wouldn't even want to listen to it, so there's no point in trying to talk to them about it. So there are still a lot of places closed over here. That says closed, sorry, graffitied up. That's not going to reopen. I mean, a grocery store would be open right now if it was going to open. We're in phase 2 here. So, yeah, we're heading down to City Hall, check out what's going on at the CHAZ location down there. Gonna have John Cullen later tonight. We've delayed the show a bit so I could come out and do this. It's very nice of John to do that. I hope everybody will join us. That's another sponsor exclusive show, Patreon and Subscribestar/Crowdsource the Truth, and also Patreon and Subscribestar/ I am John Cullen. Planning on starting that at 8, but I hope I will be back in time. I am having a real, it's calmed down a little bit since being outside, but earlier today I was having a real sense of apprehension. Just been hearing a lot of fire department sirens all day, explosions. Ruby Tuesday says George Floyd did not want more people killed. I think that's a reasonable assumption. I don't really know George Floyd or anything about him, but yeah, why would he? I mean, he certainly wouldn't want, maybe he would, who knows? But who would want this deterioration of society other than a psychopath? I mean, that note that we just read, does that seem like justice to anyone? It seems like revenge. All white people should pay the taxes for all black people. Why is that fair? I don't think that's reasonable. This sounds like the demands of a really unreasonable person. Yeah, the other thing is, there was that thing on Fox where, they were calling this guy a Black Lives Matter leader or the leader or whatever, and I didn't really know who that was. Charles recognized him as somebody who was right in front of us at the Columbus Circle protest. So that's an interesting thing for people to go back and check on. I mean, we're definitely getting in there and checking out what's going on. It's pretty dangerous at this point, particularly when those types of ideas are being put out in the subway. Who knows what they're going to do? We've heard rumors that the NYPD is going to do a walkout on July 4th I've also heard people saying that, all the fireworks that you're hearing at night, people who are in New York, that's being done to kind of just numb everybody to it, to get people to stop calling the police when that happens, and to get people used to things exploding all night so that can be a cover for gunfire. Incidentally, 2 people were shot 2 blocks from my apartment last night in Madison Square Park. That's a park people have been to many times on the show. That's the park with the what's the burger place? Shake Shack. And, Charles and I frequently start the show over there. It's 2 blocks from my apartment, 2 people shot, 19-year-old girl dead. So, it's dangerous. And, you can see there's no cops around. I don't know where they all are. Maybe they're down at CHAZ NYC, making sure nothing bad happens to vagrants and hippies, while the taxpayers who caused this city to remain running are hiding in their homes or wondering how they can exercise their Second Amendment rights by buying shotguns to protect themselves if and when somebody tries to break down the door or burn down the building or do that kind of thing. So, now we have the added problem of there's a lot of people who just think that, the entire place is their property, and then with all the tables blocking up, they can just put their dog in the middle of the sidewalk and not worry about anybody having to walk around. Dog looks beautiful. Very nice golden retriever. He's innocent. It's his owner that's a jerk. New York City is a crowded place. You got to be very conscious of the other people around. And here's a perfect example of, the NY traffic police. Well, that's a healthy, there's a lot of traffic there. That's it is a Friday, so I think that's still a fraction. Every day. I don't know, that guy's talking about some nonsense over there. It's a beautiful day. So now, we've been by here a number of times where there was a huge police, that's that genome center right there. I'm really curious what the hell is going on in there. But normally there's that big police, what was it called? Some kind of command unit van type thing. And we've seen a lot of police cars parked by this park. We've got some really impatient New Jersey people leaning on the horn. It's terrible. So I'm going to share an unpleasant anecdote with everybody while I make my way down to City Hall. I have been, reluctant to be spending a lot of time out on the streets because it's just so unpleasant and such a high likelihood of being accosted and even injured. And I feel that likelihood is growing each day. But it's also not too healthy, I don't think, to stay inside. New York City, most people don't have backyards. Even stepping outside your apartment, you're basically just in a hallway. So got to get some air, got to get some sun during the day. And luckily, my building has a public roof area that you can go up to and just kind of like sit there and, soak up the sun, relax. But it's a public space, so there are rules. You're not allowed to do certain things up there. You can't smoke cigarettes. You're not allowed to bring glasses and drink booze and all that kind of thing. And you're basically just allowed to go up there and sit and listen to music or read a book or do whatever. So I'm up there, minding my own business, on the phone with Diana West about our next show that we're developing, which is going to be really interesting. People can go to dianawest.net and purchase her books, The Red Thread in American Betrayal. Diana is so on top of this. She's known about this Marxist infiltration and written about it for many, many years. She's one of the smartest people I know, for sure. And I hope people will watch some of the interviews that we've done. But I'm on the phone with Diana, just having a quiet, pleasant conversation. I start to smell cigarette smoke, and I see a guy sitting fairly close to me smoking a cigarette. And I just walk over to him and I say, hey, there's no smoking on the roof. And he gives me the 1 minute, wait 1 minute, because he's on the phone. And I said, not one, there's no smoking on the roof. He's sitting right under a no smoking sign. And it was bothering me. I came up there for fresh air, and this guy's smoking. He should go smoke in his apartment. So, I basically told him, put out the cigarette. He took the phone down from his face for a moment and started yelling at me, saying, "Oh, you have no idea what happened to me today, and I've had such a rough day." I don't care what happened to him, and I told him that. It doesn't give him the right to smoke a cigarette in my face. And it's just another example of somebody who thinks that that's what should be done. He's had a rough day. He wants a cigarette, so who cares what I want? Who cares what the rules are? Who cares what's polite and reasonable? This is a sidewalk, not a side skateboard. But people like to skateboard on the sidewalk. So if you get crashed into and break your wrist and have to have surgery and delay your life for a month and a half and all kinds of things, that girl doesn't care. It doesn't matter what the rules are. So this guy says to me, "F you, white guy." And he wasn't black. He was, I don't know, dark skinned, but definitely not black, not African, not of African descent. He might have been Middle Eastern, or I don't know. But this was such an unpleasant exchange. And on the roof of my home there, I don't know if I mentioned to people that the other day they forced Charles Ortel to sign a contact tracing form to enter the apartment building. Charles was very upset. I wish he would have told me about it before he signed it, because I would have gone down there and made sure he didn't have to sign it. I have informed, I think I told people about this on the show the other day, that I informed them that none of my guests are going to be subjected to that process in the future. This is a crazy jam up right here. It's unconstitutional. The building has no right to do it. And oh, look at this. This is what, the post office? Yeah, well, okay, so now they've graffitied up the post office. Why? They hate mail. Lee hates the post office. Awesome. So we're getting a little closer to City Hall here. There's a lot of mail trucks around here. Perhaps they could use them instead of ambulances. I don't know where I was going with that thought, but there's a lot of ambulances sitting around. There's a lot of mail trucks sitting around. Actually, somebody told me that the post office near them, maybe this was somebody who worked for the post office, who said that they were being offered 80% pay to take the time off and not be working at the post office. So they want people to get paid and not do their jobs. I'm trying to unblock some automatically blocked comments. Sometimes people accuse me. Breeze Lover says BLM document is fake. It's a meme someone made, verified yesterday. Okay. Well, that's fine, but it's still being sent around, and so those thoughts are in people's heads, and they're being put into other people's heads. And all I'm trying to say is the same sort of vibe that motivates some jackass smoking a cigarette on the roof of my apartment building to curse at me and tell me, "F you, white guy," and think it's his right to smoke a cigarette in a place that, whether you're black or white, they've determined you're not allowed to do it. And any reasonable, sensible person knows that if there's other people there in public and it says no smoking, you're an asshole if you light a cigarette. It's simple. Now, this is another place that I really like. Let's see if it's still open. This is a hotel that has really a very good restaurant in it and a movie theater. I don't think I've ever been to a movie in there, but the restaurant is good, and they sometimes have live music going on, so it's an interesting venue. I guess, I don't know, what does that sign say? I wonder if the hotel, they got outdoor seating and they're not open. So the hotel is closed. What does it say? Temporarily closed. Huh. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's part of a hotel chain or an independent hotel, but sometimes these independent businesses that give a city its character, You know, if they all go away, then what do you got? Nothing. Nothing too interesting. This is a dangerous place to be walking. The streets are kind of crazy. When you get down here, we're sort of outside the grid. This is like the older section of New York, and the streets aren't always straight. This looks like a place under construction. It's like a new place. So let's see what people are saying. BLM document is fake. Right, we saw that already. Move out of that hellhole. It's going to get worse. The Marxists are busy. Yeah, I mean, I hear you, but that's not that easy. I mean, how am I going to do that? I'm going to move all my stuff and find a new place, and you know, what am I going to do with this place, and money that it costs to move. I mean, sure, it would be great, or I don't know if it would be great. I don't want to abandon my home. I mean, this is where I live. I like New York City the way it was. I kind of want to put it back. Get out the criminals and allow it to kind of rectify itself if that's possible. Oh my gosh, that's going to ruin your wheel. Driving around with a flat tire, not a good idea. Now, I think, right, oh, there's 33 Thomas, the crazy NSA building. No windows. Bill Binney told us about some stuff going on in that building. What's going on here? Quite bizarre. I just saw a video the other day that said this awesome electric whatever BMW is no longer being made. That's a really cool one, matte black. What is this, i8? And then Tesla. This is like electric car area here. 56 Leonard Street. Look at that thing. It's ominous, huh? Oh, wait a minute. I think we're close. Oh! Dropped my phone. Now, if people saw the show the other day with Bishop Gators, we were talking about the Odd Fellows. And I wanted to try to visit. Let's just see if I can find this here, because I forgot the address, but I am close to it. The Odd Fellows Lodge, New York. Sorry for people who are just waiting for 100% CHAZ chop. So it existed in New York from 1806 to 1818, but then why did it leave? And where was it located? Washington Lodge. Location, 42 Trade Street. That's not it. No, Odd Fellows Lodge, New York. History, New York City. I'm having a hard time finding it now. Odd Fellows Hall, that might have been it. nyc.gov. Let's see what that says. There we go, Grand Street, 165 Grand Street. So I might be kind of close. I might have passed that. Let's see if we can find it here. Yeah, I mean, this is a crazy time, everybody. A lot of people feeling apprehensive. Really wish that Donald Trump would do something. It's getting, you know, we're kind of running out of time here. Let's see where 165 Grand is. It's close by. There's Church. Walking along Church. Let's see if we can. I think I need to go this way anyway, but wow, there's a. Look at this construction. I think people find this interesting to see. What the hell is going on here? This is what it looks like under the streets of New York. Kind of a mess. Look at that. It's amazing that they can make this work. So, if people are not familiar with the Odd Fellows, I hate it when the map does this. It's like spinning around all kinds of different ways. Church Street, and then What is this street? Now it feels like I'm going the wrong way. Church Street is right here. Whatever, let's see what happens. We'll get there eventually, I think, or not. Maybe we'll hit it on the way back. So I think I'm going the opposite direction now. Yeah, see, it's not like, 26th, 27th, 28th. That looks blocked over there. You got to know your way around down here to be able to find stuff. All right, back to comments. Let's see what people are saying. Oh no, is the stream cut? Buffering, yes. See that. Can I get through here? All right, looks like it's back. Trump should suspend the election and fix America. Yeah, I don't think you could get away with suspending the election without people going friggin' crazy. I think he should just, why he said that Antifa was a terrorist organization. Why doesn't he go after the funders? Why don't they just arrest George Soros? Why don't they cut off the money? Wouldn't that be the thing to do? Donald is damned if he does, but damned if he doesn't. I do understand that, actually. And I think that coronavirus caused that to come about. It seemed like when that happened, there was that moment where he switched from this is just another flu to we're at war with coronavirus. Here we go, cafeteria, doing a fairly decent business here with their outdoor stuff. So there's Thomas Street. Where is the courthouse? It's difficult. I came down here in a different way than I usually do. I think I see it over there. Part of it. We'll try those odd fellows on the way back. It's not there anymore, so it was just going to be a sort of a... Yeah, no, Luke, I have it on walk. It's just, sometimes when you're walking slow, it's like, it tells you to go one way and you start walking that way and it tells you to go the other way. Okay, here we go. We got to go this way anyway. City Hall's over here. Jokers skateboarding on the sidewalk. Sabita. I mean, these restaurants are trying, but look at that. I mean, what do they got? 3 tables there? I mean, is that even worth stocking your restaurant with food? How can you know how much stuff to get? Who's going to order what? It's a little bit nuts. POL for Soros. I don't believe that dude is alive. Huh. Jeffrey Lane says Trump is the Manchurian candidate. They all are. He was pushing the vaccine really hard with, I don't usually watch Hannity, but I watched that town hall they did last night. Oh, that barbershop is for rent. All these places are closed. See, around here, seeing a lot of really high displacement Camaros around for some reason, but a lot of businesses around here I think rely on the courthouse and the government buildings and things that are kind of not staffed, so they're going to be having a difficult time. Burger place is closed. See, I mean, even a place like this that's essentially totally open, they don't let you do that. Chris Wallace was on some radio show that I happened to be listening to, and I mean, that guy's just got so much stupid stuff to say. I don't understand. We're talking about Joe Biden federally mandating masks. If that is not the stupidest thing I've heard. We're living in crazy times, people. Pizza place. It's a pretty big pizza place with a lot of pizzas there. All right, so there's City Hall is like right around here. Gotta go to the left. Brought some water today. This guy's got a lot of stuff on his bike. Dermatology boarded up. I wonder if these guys still plan on coming soon. I guess soon is a relative kind of term. I have a feeling this is going to be a very dangerous spot for me. Just repeat it again. If anything happens that cuts the broadcast, it will, as long as it continues recording and I remain alive, it will be uploaded after I get home and have an opportunity to put it all together. But it's, if it does cut, it's going to be uploaded for sponsors only on subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth and patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. And then later tonight, the sponsor exclusive broadcast with John Cullen will be on. I had told him 8 o'clock, but it's already 7:15, so I think I'm going to need to text John and delay it. Actually, maybe John is in the chat. That would be cool. Let's see if he's there. John Cullen, if you're watching, let me know. Only stupid people get duped by stupid people. That's actually not true. There seems to be smart people who are duped by this whole thing as well. Barber friend missed a couple of hairs in the front of my fringe. The light caught them in yesterday's vid. Well, nobody's perfect. I'll go back there in 2 weeks or so. All right, so let me engage here with the surroundings because this could get hectic in the next few minutes. Let's hope not. Okay, so let's just wait for the traffic here. Just texting John. Okay, here we go. So, again, this is City Hall, and it's been declared an autonomous zone. Let me just go right over to where we were having the protest on May 1st and see how that's going. And again, we see cops texting on the phone, not properly applying the PPE, same thing that they were beating people up for a month ago. So these cops, they're only concerned. See, this is really interesting. De Blasio won't let anybody have a gun, but he doesn't want anybody getting anywhere near him. They could bust into my apartment, the cops won't even come. I can get assaulted and the cops won't even respond. But City Hall, the shithole that is driving this insane decline, is guarded to the max by cops. Bill de Blasio is a disgraceful, disgusting individual. Counterterrorism NYPD. So these guys are guarding windows, not people. There it is, look at that. Welcome to CHAZ NYC. Greetings. You sell postcards. This is unbelievable. Now, everybody just saw it. Not a single NYPD officer on the walk over here, but we got dozens guarding the shithead that has no respect for them and is causing all this. Mayor Bill de Blasio. Why isn't he telling the police to clear out this park? on the phone, they're laughing, chatting.
No, thank you.
I can't remember if it was Bernard Kerik or Giuliani who said that they should terminate the use of personal cell phones on duty. You failed your citizens, God, to mankind. So I don't know, have people heard about this on the mainstream news? This is a very Chaz Chop-like thing, and we haven't heard really anything about this. That's a lot of people. So there's all kinds of stuff going on here.
Form in front of police that are walking away.
Bill de Blasio and all underwriters of the fascist police state. I don't think whoever made that sign understands that Bill de Blasio is working against the police.
Yeah.
Smells a bit like feces over here. People selling stuff, or this is giving away stuff? Donate. Yeah, I think it's kind of like take if you need, give if you can. Everybody's just like hanging out, like they're at the beach. There's a buffet going. Shift sign up, so you can sign up to, I guess, give out food. I think some people are selling stuff here.
Yo, what's your biggest size? XL, that's all I got right now. These are 3 times. Huh? 3 times 3X.
I'm gonna kind of keep moving. Yeah, food intake. So I guess you give food and then people can take food. Just sort of keep moving through here. Well, there's channel 11, so maybe it is being reported on the mainstream news, but I haven't watched it or seen it. I don't know, I'm curious. Did people know that this was happening? Well, this is way, way beyond what was happening May 1st.
If you can't, or if I talk too quickly.
And it's just talking with me as a thing. It's a constant problem. So welcome to the stage. We'll be doing a little bit of ritual. We'll be doing a little bit of singing. There is a variety. There should be some.
Pretty sure Zadie means grandpa.
Right. Part of how we take care of each other is making sure that everyone can
And that's Bernie.
participate as best they want and as they